What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. My name's Ashley, and what we do on my channel is whatever the heck I feel like. And today I feel like putting on some makeup, so that's what we're gonna do. It's not a tutorial, it's not like a review or anything. When I first started doing makeup, I didn't know anything about it. It was kind of like when you first start drinking coffee, like it all just kind of tastes the same until you've drank it over years, and then you can kind of taste the vanilla or the hazelnut or whatever. As I do makeup more often, I kind of start seeing what's good, what's bad, what actually works, what doesn't work. I start kind of noticing things that I didn't see before. So let's get into it. I've already done my skincare, so I'm gonna start with a primer. And today I'm gonna be using the Porefesional, the Benefit Porefesional. I hadn't used this before, but my sister somehow acquired it. She doesn't wear makeup, but she somehow acquired this and gave it to me to try. I'm very curious to try it because a lot of people used to love it. It's not so popular anymore, and I'm not sure why that is. So I just put it on the 4 points of my face and give it a good rub. So earlier today, my face was feeling really dry, which is very weird because I have very oily skin, hence the acne. So because of that, I did a moisturizing face mask and I left that on for probably almost an hour, and then I put on a really heavy moisturizer, and now I feel like really gross. Like the heavy moisturizer was way too much. So I'm gonna kind of overcorrect. I'm gonna do the Jackie Aina powder before foundation thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my Fit Me Loose setting powder in 10. It's fair light. So I'm just gonna grab a fluffy brush. This is a Mary Kay all over powder brush. Looks like this. Holy cow, that's dirty. And I'm just gonna grab some and go all over the face. Great. And another trick that I learned from Jackie Aina is finishing spray, like always, like every time that you do anything on your face. It's just gonna kind of help everything sink in and stay on your face longer and kind of melt everything together so you don't look really caked on. By the way, this is the E.l.f. Stay All Night Microfine Setting Mist, up to 16-hour wear. I'm still, like I said, I'm still learning. Don't know if it makes a difference, but it smells great and it feels great. I do it anyways. All right, so today I want to try to do the underpainting, which I learned from Scott Barnes on Tati's channel. So what I have is a couple different options, and I haven't decided which one I like better because I've done this before, and I've used this L'Oreal Infallible foundation stick. Ooh, ooh, come on, come on. Oh, well, whatever, you get the picture. And it's in the shade Cocoa 410. So it's really dark, but this is what I use for like the contour. Ooh, it's not that golden in person. Maybe it is, and I just can't see. So I have this as an option for contour, and I also have this Anastasia Beverly Hills cream contour kit. And I don't know, again, I'm so new at this, I don't really know like what the difference is. I feel like this looks really oily and would end up like kind of, I don't know, falling off, but it doesn't seem to do that. I don't know. I'm gonna do the stick. But I might use this blush because this is my only other option for a cream blush. And let me tell you, it's terrible. It's so bad. But I love cream blush so much, I don't even care. This is a Wet n Wild. It's from that like workout collection they had. It's called Partner Up. It said I'm Glistening is the shade name. So I probably am not going to use this. So I am going to start with my contour. I'm going to start up on the forehead and then go around to the rest of my face. I'm going to try not to block the camera with my mirror. Maybe I should go this direction. So pretty much what I'm doing is going around the entire perimeter of my face. I don't really go onto the jawline because I feel like no matter how hard I try it, I end up having a really bad line of demarcation. So what I'll do when I'm blending this is I'll bring it down here, but I'm not going to actually lay any product there. And when I'm contouring my cheekbones here, I don't bring it down too far because I always end up having way too much on the front of my cheek. So I just do a little bit back here and again kind of drag it to where I want to be. Nothing weird. Okay. So I don't remember, but I feel like when Scott Barnes did this, he like blended each step, but I tend to do the contour and the blush at the same time, and then I'll do the highlight afterwards. So I'm gonna take this Morphe M536, looks like this, and I'm gonna dip into this blush in the Anastasia Beverly Hills Cream Contour Kit. I'm just gonna dip into it, kind of pretty heavy, just to make sure I get it on the brush. Okay, and then I'm just going to, it is so annoying that this doesn't have a mirror. I look into it like every time, I'm like, oh great, that's helpful. Okay. Okay, so now they look thoroughly insane. Well, let me see. So I've really been liking this like overdoing it on blush trend that's been going on, because I think that I look much better when I have some color on my skin and I'm not so pale. So I really like having this kind of blush all over the place. So I'm gonna take this everywhere, and I'm doing it so heavy because I'm putting my foundation on top of this. So it's probably going to be pretty dull by the time the foundation gets on. So that's why I'm doing so much. Now I'm going to blend out the contour, and I'm gonna use this Mary Kay foundation brush. It's like an Artiste style brush. It's really dirty, I've tried to clean it. Don't judge me. So now we're all blended in. Remember how I said I always end up way too far? Learn how to speak, Ashley. Too far forward with my contour? Yeah, welcome. So instead of doing my concealer to highlight, I'm gonna do that after foundation like normal. But what I'm going to do is use this liquid highlight to highlight underneath my foundation. And this is called a High Beam by Benefit in the shade Salty Pink. Thinking about maybe I might actually put this on top of my foundation before I powder, because it's a really pretty color. That works with my skin tone really well. It's kind of like a pinky, I don't know if you can tell. Yeah, it's pretty much what it looks like in person too. It's kind of a pinky, a very pale pink. It's called satiny pink, so it pretty much looks like that. Okay. So the foundation I'm going to use today is the E.l.f. Camo C.C. cream. People have been raving about this. I've used it a few times and it seems pretty good to me. But I haven't paid too close attention. I just kind of put it on and run and go do my day, and I don't notice until I'm about to take it off in the evening if it wore well or not. So we're just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna put 2 pumps on my beauty blender, and I'm just gonna place that. I'm gonna dot it on the face. I try to not go directly on where I've already put contour because I don't want to cover it too quickly. So I'm just gonna go ahead and blend this out. Okay, so we're pretty well blended in there, and you can still see the underpainting mostly, which is pretty great. I don't know why I know why they call this foundation a CC cream, but it's pretty, it's not full coverage. You can still see like my moles and freckles and stuff, but a CC cream is almost like, from my understanding, it's like a tinted moisturizer, and this is like a medium coverage foundation. So I mean, and they did that because they wanted to dupe the IT Cosmetics CC cream, I think is also, so that's why they did it. But they should have just made it their own thing. They made it a foundation because it's really great. It covers great. It's really pretty. Love the pump. Super easy to work with, but whatever, I guess. It's a great dupe for, I've never actually used the CC cream, but I hear it's a great dupe. So now I'm going to go in with the Juvia's Place I Am Magic Concealer in the shade 21. I've been going a lot lighter with foundation, or excuse me, with concealer these days. For not really any good reason. I just feel like it's not necessary. So I'm going to go ahead with that under the eyes. So another trick that I learned from Jackie Aina, this is just a Jackie Aina heavy kind of thing, is when you're blending in your concealer, to just go underneath first. So blend all this out first. I kind of drag it up to do that like lifted trend, and then at the when you're just about done, blend out underneath and just do like a couple quick taps and be done. Because the more you blend it out, the more you're blending it out. So if you just do a couple quick taps underneath, you're gonna leave heavier coverage there right underneath where you need it most. I have yet to meet a concealer that doesn't crease under my eyes. Granted, I've only used like 5 concealers, so not a very big case study, but I'm starting to be convinced that they don't exist. Because there are a lot of concealers that people rave about, like the E.l.f. Camo Concealer, and that one is terrible. Like, I have a dry spot right here and it clings to it so bad and looks awful. And I tried the hydrating Camo Concealer, same thing, no luck. So I'm just gonna have to live with it, I think. So now that that's all blended in, I'm gonna go ahead and bake in powder, and I'm gonna be using the Maybelline Fit Me Loose finishing powder in the shade Fair Light. And I'm just gonna use the butt side of the sponge to re-tap out any creasage, because you don't want to set the creasing. Go ahead and set that real quick. I'm going to do a little extra baking here. I don't plan on going anywhere, but anytime I wear my sunglasses, I always end up pulling the makeup off, and if I bake there a little bit longer, it doesn't come up quite as easily. So and now I'm going to go ahead and powder the rest of my face, again using this Mary Kay all over powder brush. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the eyes. I don't really have a plan for today. All I know is I really want to use this like green shade here. It's called Game Night, and this is in the Tetris. It just says Tetris on it. There's literally no other branding on it. I think I got this in an Ipsy. Ipsy is what it's called. That like subscription service for like sample sized makeup things. So this came in that. So this is just a Tetris palette. The mattes in here are really not very great, except, I mean, this one, what's it called? Stack It Up, because it's so pale. I mean, I'm sure it can be patchy, but it's so pale you can barely notice. But the navy in here is really patchy. I have a really hard time with it. So I pretty much just like this palette for this specific shimmer shade. I think it's super pretty. So what I'm thinking of doing is like I was gonna originally do a monochrome look with the Nikkie X Beauty Bay, I have a hard time. I've heard a lot of people say this is a very overwhelming palette when you open it, because there's just not like, the color story quite honestly doesn't really make any sense. Like there's no like, there isn't stuff that really goes together. So what I've been doing is just like a monochrome. I'll just pick a color and just do the whole eye that color and then see if one of the shimmers works with it. So I was going to do Slasher, I think, this like plum up here. So I think I'm gonna just do a couple swatches on my arm and see which of these mattes look best with that green, and then I'll go from there and decide which one I'm gonna do. Quite honestly, I'm not sure that any of these look great, but that's the fun thing about makeup. Something can look like it shouldn't go together, but as soon as you put on like some liner and lashes, you're like, oh, that totally looks great. How'd you think of that combination? You're like, it was an accident. I was just hoping for the best. So I think I'm gonna do E.l.f. It's hilarious. It's such a good color. This like turquoise color. I think she said it's supposed to be like a true green, but it's has a little blue kind of tint, which is why it's called Ew, because she hates green. She being Nikki. I'm gonna go ahead and tap the creases out of my lid. I don't know, someone else is gonna have to tell me. So the mirrors in here, obviously one is like a 2x, like super close to your face one, and one's a normal one. Mine is like distorted kinda, like almost like a funhouse mirror kind of effect. Not that serious, but it's a little, like looking into it's kind of difficult. So I wonder if it's just like a defect in mine where the mirror just didn't quite lay flat, like maybe the glue behind it or something just didn't quite go even. Anyways, that doesn't really matter. So I'm just gonna pat this out and then take the excess powder from baking and just kind of swipe that over it to set it. So I'm gonna take this Morphe M504 and take Basic Toot, I think that's how you say that, this one here, all over the lid as a transition shade. So I'm more just doing this like all over the lid instead of the transition shade, like I said. It's kind of to do like a double set, even though I set it with translucent powder, but I just like to put an extra layer on there to make sure that the next shade is going to blend really well. Can you tell that I used the red shade in this palette? I'm going to clean this brush off. Okay, so now I'm going to take that shade Ew right there. It does have quite a bit of, what do they call it, kickback in the pan, so I'm just gonna, ooh, I just spit a little bit. Ugh, gross. Okay, so I'm just gonna tap that off, especially for the first swipe. I don't want to, every time that I put too much on the eye at once, I end up getting that like dark outside line and like pale on the inside. This doesn't really make any sense, but I did that on my wedding day. Not great. Luckily you can't really see it in pictures. So anyways, gonna go ahead and start with that in the crease. I know that you should like go above the crease to, I'm so bad at describing this. So when you have hooded eyes like I do, you should really like make yourself a new crease and do it pretty high, but I find that if I go in the crease first and then slowly move up from there, because I really don't have a lot of space here to do much of anything. I could probably make my eyebrows smaller, but anyways, that's beside the point. So I like to start in my crease and then kind of slowly go higher so that I don't go too high up to start and not have any more room to like blend out up. So another thing that I find helpful is I've seen a lot of people like tilt their head back like this and blend this way, which works very well to make sure you get really good coverage. But what I do Remember I said I have very hooded lids? When I go like this, you can't see hardly anything that I just did. So I'll look straight in the mirror and make sure that I kind of go like this, way high, and make sure that it's actually going to be visible when my eyes open. Because like, look at this. You can't see any of my lid, any of it at all. So work with your eye shape and make sure you can see what you're doing. So I'm just continuing to go in and build and build and build. I'll just dip, tap, and then keep going until the color really builds up. These shadows are really good. Like I said, I'm just so afraid to like pack it on and then blend it out because it just never works for me, no matter what shadow I use. It's better for me to just put a little bit on the brush at a time and just build it up slowly. It just looks better, and it's not worth the risk. I already did it, so now I have to commit. Shouldn't have done it. Every time I do it, I'm like, nah, I don't like it. And then I try to do the thing that Nikki does where she blends it like into her forehead and it looks amazing. I can't do it for the life of me, but I guess I'm doing it today. Okay, well, so I'm gonna leave that way for now. Wow, good sentence structure actually. Okay, and now I'm gonna hope that this color looks as awesome as I want it to. Ugh. Alright, I'm just going to go with my finger. I have been trying to use brushes for shimmers. Like when I first started, I always used brushes for shimmers and like setting spray, but it never fails on your finger. So like why? And I actually, let me show you something. I tried using a brush on Nikkie's palette and I ruined one of the shades from pressing too hard into it. So now this shade, I don't know if you can tell, but you can kind of see the other ones still have like that really pretty shimmer to it, but this one, I tried to use a brush and it just absolutely wrecked the shade. Like I can't hardly get any color up from it, so I just don't use brushes anymore. I just use my finger because it works just as well. It works better, I should say. So I'm not going to do a cut crease because quite honestly, like, does it really make a difference? Like if the shadow's pigmented, it'll cover in the same fashion. Am I wrong? I don't think so. I think I'm right. So anyway, stop talking and actually go ahead and put it on your eyeball. Here we go. So there's quite a bit of fallout from that. There you can see. My under eyes look terrible. See what I mean? It always creases. I can't win. So there's a little bit of fallout, but there's a little bit of bake under there, so it should wipe off pretty easy. So I'm just gonna go in on the other side. I should use my opposite hand finger so it's easier to reach, but I don't do that. Yeah, so these two shades don't really go together, but I care about that much because all I'm doing today is picking up my car from the shop and coming back home. So there's about one person that'll see me. Don't care. Okie dokie, I'm back and I finished up the eyes. So I took the same shade, that U shade, I just blended it out underneath using this Mary Kay brush. It's an eye crease brush. It's got a nice slant to it. I just took that underneath, and then I didn't like what was going on over here. I didn't quite get it all off, but I just took this fluffy brush, this M504 by Morphe, and I took this transition shade in here, this basic Truth, and just gave it a good buffing and just tried to mellow it out so it wasn't quite so pigmented. And then I took, actually for the inner quarter highlight, I used the same highlight that I used on my face. Don't do it because this is not eye safe, I assume, but I did it anyways. And then liner lashes, I use my Mary Kay liner, retractable thingamabob, and oh my gosh, where'd it go? Oh, and then my Wet n Wild liquid eyeliner, megaliner. it's called, in black. It's just, I think I showed you this last time, but it's a brush. Okay. I meant to do mascara off camera, but I guess I'm gonna do it on camera. I'm going to use my Mary Kay Lash Intensity mascara. I really like the formula of this, but the brush is just, like, why are we doing this? It's half a brush. See how it's nice and big, and this side's, there's nothing. Why are we doing this? This is just a real pain, but formula itself, amaze. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put this on. And now, because I have no self-control, I'm gonna use two mascaras. This one is from Essence, the Volume Stylist 18-Hour Lash Extension. And I'm gonna use only the Essence mascara on my lower lash line. Okie doke, there is the eyes all finished. I swear, if I could just not do my eyebrows, I would just not do my eyebrows. And you know what? I might not do my eyebrows. I might just put on my Mary Kay brow gel. Doesn't really match my eyebrows. Don't care. So I'm just gonna throw this on my eyebrows real quick, and I'm gonna call it good. I don't feel like doing them. Alright, so since I underpainted, I think I need to try to be chill about the blush and bronzer. So I'm going to be using the Maybelline City Bronzer. I am a huge fan. I was using 200 previously, but I got 100 this time, I think on accident, or I just wasn't paying attention, and it's pretty pale, but I actually like it better than the darker one because I can slowly build it up and I don't, you know, go too ham too quick. So I'm going to take this Wet n Wild All Over brush. Oh, not this one. This one. It's like the same brush, but this one's newer. So I'm just going to take this Wet n Wild. Doesn't have a name. It's just a fluffy $1.99 at the dollar store brush. I'm just going to tap in here pretty heavy because, like I said, it's pretty pale. And then one of those, and just give it a swirl pretty high up on the cheekbone. I'm actually not really doing a shadow so much. Like in the hollow, I'm pretty much right on top of the cheekbone. Okay. In case you were wondering, I mentioned in my last video that I do that kind of like across the cheeks thing. I got that from Raw Beauty Christie. And I actually like it because, again, I like feelings that I'm kissed and tan because I just feel like I look better that way. So now I'm going to take this Wet n Wild Color Icon in Pearlescent Pink. It does have some, if you can tell, some shimmer in it. I don't know if you can tell. It's not really shimmer. It's actually almost like chunky glitter. It's like gold, but I don't notice it too much on the face. Or I just, again, have no idea what I'm looking at. So I'm going to take my Mary Kay cheek brush. It's pretty wide, got a nice taper. Huge fan. It's new-ish, I think, from Mary Kay, and I'm in love. So again, I'm gonna go pretty heavy. I didn't do it on accident. And I'm kind of almost going in the same spot that I put my bronzer, which is like right on the cheekbone, and I'm staying pretty far back because I don't want it to, I really don't like this where everyone smiles and put it there. I actually don't like it there too much, so I'm gonna keep it back here. Cute. All right, now onto the highlight, and then we should be done. Oh, just kidding, I have to do lips as well. So I'm going to be using the Jeffree Star Cosmetics in Sarcophagus. Good, done with that. So now for lips, I don't know why I'm doing this. I hate wearing lipstick. So I'm going to turn my lip rings down. Sorry if that's gross. I'm not really that sorry, get over it. Okay. I'm gonna use this Mary Kay lip liner. I think it's in like nude. Yeah, it's just called Nude. This was a, came with a lip kit that was limited edition with Mary Kay. There was like a nude and like a pale pink. I don't really remember the name. So I'm gonna be using this lip liner because it's the only lip liner that I own. That's a lie. I do own one other, but it's bright red, and I don't really wear red lipstick. So excellent purchase on my part. So this is actually, it's pretty good, but quite honestly, I think Wet n Wild is just as good, and it's $1.99 probably for their lip liners. I don't know, but Mary Kay's lip liners are really great as well. But if you don't have a Mary Kay consultant, first of all, hit me up. If you don't want Mary Kay, get Wet n Wild. Okay, so grand finale, I'm gonna use the Jeffree Star Cosmetics liquid lipstick in something. Oh my gosh, I can't read. Birthday Suit. Okay, I'm not gonna put on a second layer of this because I don't want to. Alright, so this is the finished look. Alright, so that's it for today's video. It's been a good time, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!